I want to share with you my eportfolio, which I call Nimikana Mednuk Matsi. In English terms, that's my road to the good life. My Anishinaabe name is Kapmashing Mekise, Flying Bald Eagle. My English name is Charles Cochrane. I am originally from Ebb and Flow First Nation, and I still call it my home. When people hear of Ebb and Flow, this is likely what they picture. Or this, or even this. We actually do exist on a map and on a sign. I was raised in a small place called Bacon Ridge. There's even a sign there too. When I first thought about how I was going to frame this PowerPoint, I thought I would look at a format similar to a table of contents, with headings and subheadings. So I will. To start, I wanted to look at identifying what I strongly believe in, and that is my family. I'm going to start with family and a little bit about who I am. From there, I will move to my influences, and that's our elders. Since my intent is to show my educational experiences here under Malm, I will share my philosophy in education. And from there, I am going to reflect on my learning at Royal Roads and how my learning has meaning within the 7 Anishinaabe teachings. I will use these 7 teachings as a reflection on my learning and the time I spend in Malm. I think it is obvious, based on my presentation background, the pride I have as an Ojibwe also can be considered Anishinaabe. So you will see my presentation will be heavy in First Nation content. I am a proud father and grandfather. This little guy here is my boss. Just as anywhere, family is a big part of my life. I always say they're the reason I am here, why I love to live. My girls and grandsons are my pride. Of course, I love my father. When I think of my family, the values I carry with me are the same values I want to pass down to them. I also take pride in the ability to speak my language. Lorna and I speak our language together. I truly believe in the values of my culture and traditions. This is a picture of me in my traditional ribbon shirt I wore at one of our functions at Royal Roads. This is another picture of me of a ribbon shirt that I didn't wear at a function. This is a picture of me without a shirt. When I think of my well-being, including a common term in our language, Minumbatsin, living the good life, I've always related that to our elders that have guided us to where we are. My uncle has always been that guide for me. At one point in my undergraduate studies, as part of my studies, I wrote a poem about my visit to him one morning. This poem still holds true to my heart. Elders are a big part of our people. My philosophy in education is that I believe that every child in Canada must be provided equal access to the highest quality of schools and education resources and supports, regardless of their gender, home location, and cultural background. I believe this because education has always been important to me. I've been fortunate to be able to succeed with the push from my late mother. I know she watches me from the spirit land. I am where I want to be in life, especially since my residency experience at Royal Roads University. There will be lasting memories. I was really inspired by the video presentation from Dr. Martin Brokenleg. His message in terms of the importance of education and well-being is consistent to the values we believe in as First Nation people. In terms of relevancy to my studies, the significance of his message is that we have to embrace the importance of education and that we have to have an educated mind to succeed in this country. His message was truly impressive and very inspiring. I have talked about values that were instilled in me by my parents and grandparents. Interestingly today, we call those values the 7 Anishinaabe teachings: love, respect, courage, humility, honesty, truth, and wisdom. The 7 teachings will form the basis of my reflection and relevance to my 2 weeks of residency. I will reference my reflective learning and leadership style. One of the quotes that caught my attention was from one of our course teachings. Kurtman states, "The best leaders know how to stay focused on what matters and on their values and beliefs." I know I'm still far away from this practice, but I always try and focus on being a good leader, and I'd like to think I'm able to do this by following the values and beliefs I inherited. As I introduce the values within this presentation, I will provide the animal that represents the value. The value of love is represented by the eagle. As an Anishinaabe, we are always taught to love. It is one of our first teachings, to love each other, to love our children, and to love our land. As I move forward in my profession and my studies, I look at where I'm going. where my road leads me. The 2 weeks in residency has truly sparked my love and passion in education. The application of my learnings to education, the love I have for First Nation education, and supporting the learning of First Nation children. It's a truly rewarding feeling. The value of respect is represented by the bison. Being respectful is a value we hold deep in our hearts. Showing respect to the land, its animals, and its people is sacred. It is respecting Mother Earth. My reflection is the respect given to the original peoples of the land this university sits on, the Ksepsem and Lunkan peoples, the ancestral holders of this land. It is with respect that we enter as visitors to their traditional territory. It is also with respect we take great care of the land and its animals while we are here. The value of courage, as represented by the bear. Although as Anishinaabe people, we look at courage as always having the courage to do what is morally right. My reflection on courage may be a little different than the value of courage. My reflection at Melm is based on a real life situation. During the halfway point of residency, I found the opportunity to go for a walk on the land. Very beautiful part of the country. I looked across and I wanted to get across to the road on the other side of the lagoon. Initially in the first week, there had been a cougar sighting within the university location. As the week progressed, there was another sighting within the location referred to as around House 14. Knowing the sightings and its concerns, I still took my opportunity to view the land. As I'm walking in this very quiet trail a couple of kilometers from the university, all by myself, I come across a sign that signifies House 14. With a bit of surprise and fear, I continued my walk. Was it courage? I'm not so sure. I did learn in Malm the dichotomy to courage is fear. The value of humility, as represented by the wolf. It is the belief that we as Anishinaabe people do not put ourselves ahead or above anyone else. Although I have many years of experience in First Nation education, in fact my first job in education was in 1983 as a teacher aide. Over the last 25 years or so, I've been involved in management and administration, primarily in education. I do know that I can bring positives to the cohort. In my reflection, the value of humility was so evident in the cohort's interaction. We looked at each other as the same. We were working as equals, not one better than anyone else. The team I was part of for the most part of the 2 weeks was a prime example of that. A team that can work in equality and harmony. Not one person tried to be above anyone else. The value of honesty, as represented by the Sabe or Sasquatch. It is about being honest to oneself. When a person brings something forward to others, it must come with honesty. I reflect on the reading in the courses. The authors themselves write of what they believe in. That is the same for us. Any writings we must do must come from our hearts and what we believe in. That is being honest to yourself. What we bring to our cohorts as we move forward in our studies also has to come with honesty. The value of truth as represented by the turtle. I think that people look at honesty and truth as the same. That may be so. My interpretation of truth within this context of reflection is that truth means to be true in ways we can become better. Why are we here? Why do we exist? As I reflect on what it means to be true, I look at my work over the past few years in building relationships and trusts with First Nations throughout Manitoba. In a spirit of true partnership, through my involvement with the Manitoba First Nation Education and Resource Centre and some of our Manitoba's First Nations, we were able to establish Canada's first ever First Nation school system, as tweeted by Prime Minister Trudeau on December 16, 2016. The value of wisdom, as represented by the beaver. Our elders are the wisdom holders. They are our knowledge keepers and storytellers. Anything we are told by our elders, we pass this on to our children. When we do this, we are passing on the wisdom given to us. In our closing activity while in residency, I was able to share something that was passed on to me by an elder. To me, nationhood was my word. I looked at our cohort as all one people within this great land, and the country you're so fortunate to be on. Our elders would wisely share the words. Always respect the land that you are on. Treat every living and non-living thing with love. Do not hurt for any reason. Cherish your children. Those are the words from our elders. Thank you, Mel. It was such a great experience. We'll see everybody again in Grad 2019.